Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to the Avian Trilogy Crossover. So this is a special box set that has cards for War for Chicken Island, Dodos Riding Dinos, and Kiwi Chow Down games. Also known as the Creature Kingdoms. Of course, games made by Draco Studios and Detestable Games. So yeah, if you've seen my other unboxings for these, or you're familiar with these games, you know they've had previous promos either outside the game or sometimes hidden in the boxes that let you play with use some of the characters or miniatures from the other versions of the games into the other ones. So you can bring your Dodos Riding Dinosaurs into Kiwi Chow Down, or Kiwi Chow Down into War for Chicken Island, or whatever combination, as well as some promos from some other characters. So what this set does is it brings the 5 different symbols together. There's actually a 6th one on there you don't show. So we have War for Chicken Island, Kiwi Chow Down, Dodos Riding Dinos, Dodos Riding Dino Double Dash, the second set, and then a new Dodo Riding Dinos that has yet to be released. This is an extra new one. There's a couple of cards in there for that. Yeah, this is 108 characters that let you basically take, not basically, it does. It lets you take every main character from each game and take them into every other game. So yeah, you have to, so if I have War for Chicken Island and I have Kiwi Chow Down, I can take all the characters from War for Chicken Island and I can use them in Kiwi Chow Down to give me more characters or units for that game, and vice versa. I could do the other way. If you only own Dodos and Kiwi Chow Down, you can mix those together. If you own all 3, you can mix and match all 3 games. Yes, it's kind of cool because it's going to give you a lot more variety to be able to use every single different one. So the 2 things are going to come up before we even get into the videos. 1, do I have to own all 3 games to be able to use these cards? Technically, no. Because what you could easily do is for example, if you only bought Dodo Riding Dinosaurs and you're like, oh, but now I have this giant stack, so like here's the stack of cards for that. I have this stack here, and you want to be like, oh, but I would really love to be able to use this card. You could just substitute any miniature for that card. As long as you make sure you remember, it's just your miniature is not going to match what your character looks like. Other than that, it's not going to play any other general gameplay effect-wise. So definitely, you could pick this up, and you could substitute anything else for it. Use a different miniature, use a meeple, use something else. And it could just give you that much extra variety for the game if you like. Then if you can find them later on, buy them base games later on cheaper, do it. But it's also going to include Kickstarter exclusive stuff. So even if you bought all 3 base games, there are going to be some characters that were Kickstarter exclusive characters. There are some that are stretch goal or like add-on characters that were during the campaigns that aren't going to be available at retail. There's going to be promotional characters that are only available as add-ons. So keep that in mind. Not all of these characters are going to be just out of the gate available if you own all 3 base sets as well. Now, I've done previous promos and I've shown the miniatures with them. I'm not going to pull the miniatures out for all of these because I have to pull every single miniature. Yeah, so that's definitely cool there. All right, let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of these. First of all, we're going to look at this little thing here. This is just explaining how it is. It says, the Ultimate Crossover Pack, true aficionados of the initial Avian Archipelago Trilogy will experience a whole new feel to their favorite Creature Kingdom games. Unleash Dino Meeples to wander on Kiwi Island. Add dexterity to the game with Go Dino Racers. Play chicken leaders to build special units in Dodos Riding Dinosaurs or Kiwi Chow Down, or pile leader racers into Kiwi on Dodo Riding Dinosaurs. Deploy dinosaur units for War Chicken Island to get more powerful +1 attack dice results. Encourage becoming enraged in Dodo Riding Dinosaurs with some chicken characters. Try Kiwi leaders using their pushing skills or building outside your territory for War for Chicken Island. Or simply unleash madness through the powerful games with Cthulhu, Yolk-Soloth, Arteris, Fulgen, and Cloxel. We recommend start playing with characters from the same crossover origin before mixing So your game group will find out the dynamics you enjoy the most. The choice is yours, and we hope these crossovers bring a load of fun. After all, games are made to be played. One final thing, you're getting a special crossover from a new character in Dodos Riding Dinos, the Carnotaurus. And then that'll be a new one. So this is so basically all this is sort of saying is what it is telling you is that you should probably play with all your base game stuff first, because those characters were designed to work within that base game understanding. Then these characters come out and they kind of break the mold a little bit. So they might be a little bit overpowered, or they might work fairly differently, have different mechanics that weren't, again, necessarily intended. So like War for Chicken Island has where you can create units and play stuff. So they tried to have those characters when they brought to Kiwi Chow Down or to Dodos Riding Dinosaurs have a way to place units, other units on the board when none of the Dodo dinosaurs do that. In the same way, like the War for Chicken Island characters are kind of aggressive. So like they might be having them be a little bit more aggressive in the dinosaur game, where the Dodo dinosaur game, where they might not have been the other characters might not be. Yeah, so there's some very interesting stuff in there, and how they all work. So we're gonna start with the Kiwi Chow Down cards. So on the back here, it does have some special units, special additional rules for Kiwi Chow Down. So special units, golems and dino meeples can be fed up to 4 different fruits to explode, while soldiers can't be fed at all. Dragon hatchlings can be fed, always counted as a size 1 kiwi. They can be moved and pushed to larger kiwis, or abilities to push kiwis of any size. They count for dominance overall treated as other kiwis of respective size and cannot be increased or reduced. Hexes with cannons, towers, and battle cards cannot hold another nest of any type. All the special tokens mentioned above can only be built through special abilities and without paying fruit or removing kiwi tokens from your flock board. Nests destroyed by cannons return their owner's reserve and are not played back in the flock board and still awarded victory points as if they're built from the second row. And the other ones for throwing projectiles are thrown as per normal per Dodos Dinos. If a kiwi stacks are destroyed, size 3 kiwi becomes a 3 size 1 kiwis, leaving them like that. Any kiwi tokens moved with a launch projectile might be removed if it leaves the island board. If it doesn't, it should be placed in the hex where it landed. If a position is unclear, the player who launched a projectile chooses which hex it seems to be resting at the most. If you throw a projectile token and it doesn't hit anything, repeat your shot until it hits a kiwi. So yeah, we're going to get some of the golems and some of the other stuff from the other games in there. Alright, so we're going to start with our kiwis. So we're going to just hop right. So War for Chicken Island. Sorry, I said we're starting with Kiwi Chow Down. I lied. We're going to start with War for Chicken Island. Let me back up. Let's actually just start with the other one. We'll grab that. I have them all right here. Alright. We'll just scooch these guys out of the way. Alright, so blah, 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 blah. Kiwi Chow Down. Let me get my facts straight here. Alright, so we have Krakatoa and the Cannons. From War for Chicken Island characters. So they have their little symbol up there, so you kind of know where they're from. As they have the move ability, they'll have that. It says move Krakatoa to any hex where you can build a nest and build a cannon on it. If there are any in your reserve. Cannons count as nests. Remove it from the island board. 1 nest or 1 cube of any size on an adjacent hex. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting way, because it's a way to add extra nests to the game, but they're exclusive to this character, but they don't grant you the bonus the nests do, by what they provide. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Now, there is an alternate card that came in one of the promos, and I'll look at those at the end of the game, just because I don't want to get them confused with what's in here. I want to jump back to the main ones. So then we have Zensight and the Towers. So move Zensight to build a hex where you can build a nest and build a tower on it. If there's any in your reserve, towers count as nests. Your size 1 kiwi hex with towers cannot be pushed. To protect them. Plucky with the battle cards. Move Plucky to any hex where you can build a nest and build your battle card on it. Your battle cards count as nests. You may skip hexes with battle cards while moving your Kiwi. The Megadeth and Wood Golems. Move Megadeth 1 hex and build a Wood Golem on it. Wood Golems count as size 3 Kiwi. Move each one of your Golems 1 hex and push every Kiwi any size on the hex they landed on. This is kind of neat, so you get extra ways to like move stuff around. We have the Tikmi and Mega Golems. It's the same thing, counts as a size 3 hex, or size 3 Kiwi. You can move each one. Push it. So we have one guy that creates nests, one that does the other one. All the golems are going to work the same. And then we have Il Plazio with stone golems. Same thing there, just to push guys if they land on it. We have Overkill and Stone Soldiers. Move Overkill 1 hex and build a Stone Soldier on it if there's any. Soldiers count as size 2 Kiwis that can't be fed. Move each of your soldiers 1 hex and push every other 1 size Kiwi on the board they landed on. So they work the same way, they're just size 2, so they're a little bit smaller. So yeah, we're going to get those. We have Momoa and the Wooden Soldiers, same thing, size 2 Kiwi. He pushes all size 1s. And we have Abigail and his metal soldiers. Use silent cubes. So that's kind of neat. That I love these guys. The miniature comes out and it does something, but also it's just summon the extra units from the game. And you might be like, well, these guys do it like the soldiers aren't as good as the golems, so why would I pick one over the other? It might just be because there's more units available, right? And that's the whole thing. Like the towers, there's a lot more towers. There's a couple more cars, and they just give you different abilities. All right, then we're gonna hop into some of the promo characters. So we have Kickstarter exclusive characters. These are part of the 5-player expansion. So we have the Roastinator C9000. Move Roastinator up to 3 hexes. Push every Kiwi from the hex you land on. If you push a leader, gain 1 domain marker. We have Caldor. Move Caldor up to 2 hexes. Push up to 2 Kiwi any size from adjacent hexes. Then you may discard a card from your hand or return any card from your discard pile to your hand. Crestos. Move Crestos 1 hex and push up to 2 Kiwi any size. Then move Crestos 1 hex and push up to 2 Kiwis. So you're just going to be shoving people around. Helena. Move Helena or Helena up to 5 hexes in a straight line. Push every size 1 Kiwi from hexes in between and the starting hexes landing spaces. And then we also have the Mecha Chicken Dragon. Move Mecha Chicken Dragon 1 hex and push every Kiwi any size from hexes you landed on. Pay 4 different colored fruit to return any domain marker on that hex to its owner's tile or reserve. This is some interesting abilities. I'm going to drop these down quick. We have some more extra promo characters. We have Yak Sloth, a Cthulhu-esque character. Move Yoke 1 hex and push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on. Then you may return 2 of your domain markers from your reserve to the bag to move a domain marker on any hex and adjacent hex without a domain marker. Ooh, controlling. Cthulhu or Cthulhu Chicken. Move in 1 hex. Push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on. Then you may return 2 of your domain markers from reserve to the bag to push every Kiwi on hexes with domain markers to hexes without domain markers. And then the last one we got for that one is Dragon Mama and the Hatchlings. Move Dragon Mama to any moat in space and place Dragon Hatchlings on it if there are any in reserve. And this came with 3 of them? I think maybe 4. Hatchlings count as size 1 Kiwis that can't increase in size. Move each of your hatchlings 1 hex. Whenever a hatchling is fed by any player, choose and remove it from the island board and place a size 1 Kiwi on its hex. Yeah, so basically moves around, you can keep dropping these for free, and then you can eventually replace them all. Cool. So those are all the Kiwi Island ones. War for Chicken Island ones. Then we have 2 special promos that were from Draco Studios, which is Cutsacado. So it says move Cux up to 3 hexes, push every leader from the hex you landed on. For each leader you push, take a random card from that player's hand. You may resolve it. Then return the card to its owner's hand. You may still pay fruit to build or feed. Wow, you can take cards from a player's hand. They did keep it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so there you go. They have Dodos on. They're originally part of a Dodo Riding Dinosaur promotion to add them in. But it's neat that now we get to play with them in other games as well. And then we have Arius folding. Move Arius up to 3 hexes. Push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on. Pull every leader from adjacent hexes onto the hex you landed on. Interesting, so he brings all the leaders. That can really mess up people's plans. Awesome. So now we're going to hop into Dodos Riding Dinosaurs. They have the little handprint on there. So we have Oberndorfer. Move Oberndorfer 1 hex. Push every Kiwi from the hex you land and roll 1 die and increase the size of that many different Kiwi in adjacent hexes. Do not gain domain markers from this. Stromer. Move Stromer up to 2 hexes, roll 1 die, and reduce the size of that many different Kiwis from the hexes you landed on, or the first hex you passed through. That's kind of opposite each people. Godfrot. Flick the Egg. So this is adding in the dexterity element that is in Dodos Riding Dinosaurs. So you get little tokens you get to move around, or do stuff with. So, move into the hex with the first Kiwi hit. Gain 2 fruits if you moved into a non-adjacent hex. Push every Kiwi any size from the hex you landed on. Place a size 1 Kiwi hex on it. Interesting. Riggs. Drop the Meteor. Move Riggs onto the hex with the first Kiwi hit. Remove from the island board every size 1 Kiwi on the hex you landed on. And reduce the size of every size 2 or 3 Kiwi on it. Othniel. Move Othniel up to 2 hexes, push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on, and place a Dino Meeple on it that counts as size 3 Kiwi. When your Meeple is on the island board, you may pay with your fruit as if it were. You may pay with your fruit as if it were any type. Yeah, so it's kind of neat too. So like we also had little Meeples that you could use in place of the miniatures. So this is kind of neat. It's making use of more of that game element, kind of like the War for Chicken Island using the extra miniature towers and stuff like that. And this is making use of the Meeples and the flickable tokens. Sealy. Move Sealy up to 3 hexes. Each player must give you 1 fruit. For each player who can't, remove from the island 1 Kiwi of their size from any adjacent hex. I love the guy on wheels. We have Kaizen. Throw the Banana. Move Kaizen to the hex with the first Kiwi hit. Push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on 2 hexes any direction. Barnum. Move Barnum up to any hex. Gain 3 domain markers. You may give any of them to different players if you do remove from the island one of their 1 size Kiwi from an adjacent hex. Parks. Move Parks to any hex. All players choose 1 of their domain markers and reveal them simultaneously. For each player who reveals the same type as yours, increase the size of a Kiwi on an adjacent hex. Interesting. Different. We have Marsh. Move Marsh up to 2 hexes. Push every Kiwi from the hexes you landed on and place a Dino Meeple on that counts as a size 3 Kiwi. Build and feed actions that you take in hexes adjacent to your Meeple cost 1 fewer fruit. Cuvier. Roll 1 die and move Cuvier that many hexes and push that many Kiwi from the hexes you landed up to 2 hexes in any direction. And then finally we have Osborne. Move Osborne up to 2 hexes. Push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on and place a Dino Meeple on it that counts as a size 3 Kiwi. Whenever you move Your meeple, remove from the island board 1 Kiwi hex that it landed on. Cool. Alright, then we have the sequel, Dodos Riding Dinos Double Dash. So we have Salisbury. Throw the Dodo. Salisbury copies the ability of every leader hit, including itself. Choose the order if you hit multiple leaders. If no leaders hit, move Salisbury 1 hex and push up to 2 Kiwi. Bane. Pay X fruit to a maximum of 5. Move Bane 1 hex and push 1 Kiwi. Repeat X times, moving in a straight line. Diane. Move Diane up to 2 hexes. Push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on. Place a Dino meeple on it that counts as a size 3 Kiwi. Whenever you move your meeple, place a size 1 Kiwi on the hex it moved to. Sharab. Roll the log. Move Sharab to the hex with the first Kiwi hit. Push every Kiwi, size 2 or 1, from the hex you landed on up to 3 hexes in any direction. Bradley. Move Bradley to any hex. All players choose one of their domain markers and reveal them simultaneously. For each player revealing a different than yours, move one island from the island board, one of their one-sized Kiwis. So you have one that matches them and one that has to be different. It's kind of neat. Wellenhofer. Move Wellenhofer up to 3 hexes. If the hex you land has no other Kiwi, roll 1 die and place that many Kiwi on it. I'm just going to drop them off. It's kind of cool. Annie. Move Annie up to 2 hexes and push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on and place a Dino meatball that counts as size 3 Kiwi. While your meeple is on the island board, your size 1 Kiwi may move from any hex to the edge of the island board to any other hex on the edge regardless of distance. Hey, cool. So that's kind of neat. So you can use the outside of the board to kind of travel around. We have Wells. Move Wells up to 2 hexes. Push every Kiwi from the hex you land on. Roll 1 die and gain half the amount of fruits. If you roll a 6, gain a domain marker 2. And our last double dash is Sternberg. Throw the feather. Switch positions of Sternberg and the first Kiwi hit. Push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on. You may pay fruit to build a nest if the hex has no nest. Alright, then the last one we have for this set is Bonaparte. So this is a brand new one. Who is from the new unnamed Dodo Riding Dinosaur set. He's a Carnotaur. So it says move Bonaparte up to 2 hexes. Choose 2 hexes adjacent to you and switch positions of every Kiwi on both of them. Then push every Kiwi on any side from the hex you landed on. So yeah, with this guy, there's actually a card for this in this one and for War for Chicken Island. There's not a card for him for the Dodos Riding Dinosaur set, because when they release him in the game with his miniature, then you'll get his card. So he doesn't technically need a crossover right now. But don't know what set that's going to come in. It could be the next set. It could be 2 games from now. Could be a promo in the next set for all we know. So yeah, as of right now, even if you bought this set and you own everything, all the Kickstarter, all the promos, you still won't have a miniature for this one guy. Alright, that is what we have for Kiwi. Now we'll go back to Chicken Island. Alright, so here we have War for Chicken Island. So we're going to start with the Kiwi cards. We have Ugg, who has 2 movement, 7 attack, 12 defense or armor. Pay 3 stars. Destroy an adjacent machine that is also adjacent to a C-Hex. You may move Ugg and all its banging units onto that hex if it's empty. Hey, way to destroy machines. I mean, granted, they have to be on a C-Hex, but that's not... Or adjacent to a C-Hex, but that's not even terrible. We have Zen, who has 2 movement as well, 7 attack and 12 armor. After Zen moves, you may destroy an adjacent chicken. You may build on any territory's tile empty hexes adjacent to Zen. Ooh. The fact you can build on enemy territory is pretty cool. Musco, who has 1 movement, 6 attack, 13 armor. Range 2, after Musco moves, you may move 1 adjacent unit with an adjacent hex. You may build on empty neutral tiles adjacent to Musco. I like the fact that it also has range, because in the base game there were 7 characters, only 2 of them had range. So having more characters with range, I think, is kind of nice, because then you could have more players play with a ranged character. We have Scully, 2 movement, 7 attack, 11 defense or armor. Scully and your machines can move on to lava hexes. You may build on empty lava hexes adjacent to Scully. Yes. Again, playing with these water and the seeing lava hexes are fun. Burbus, 2 movement, 7 attack, 11 armor. Your machines can move on to sea hexes. You may build onto empty sea hexes adjacent to Burbus. If you do, place a shield on that machine. At the end of your turn, destroy one of your machines on a sea hex. So yeah, they can move onto them, but if they stay on there at the end of the turn, they're going to get destroyed. Chopin. After Chopin moves, you may destroy up to 2 adjacent chicken tokens. 1 attack, or 1 move, 7 attack, 13 defense. Alright, then we have the promo character. It was part of the 5-player expansion, I believe, or at least adjacent to it, was Gooey, who has 2 movement, 5 attack, 15 defense. Play 1 star. If Gooey is not on your base tile, place Gooey and all its banging units on your base tile, then take a free build action on the hex Gooey left. Interesting. So you can kind of force them back to your base, but you get a free movement out of it. Then what we have is actually pretty cool, which is up next, is we have 3 copies of the tree nest. So it's a machine you can build. So you can take the nests from Kiwi Chow Down and turn them into things. They don't have movement, but you get more nests to build. So normally you only had the 3 types of nests. Here's going to get you some extra nests to build. So 0 attack, 13 health. At the end of your turn, retrieve 1 resource. Yeah, so they're not going to get you all the extra stuff in there, but they're going to get you some neat stuff here. So they're basically machines that go over. They act like extra towers, which is a neat way to use them extra miniatures. We have 3 copies of the Cave Nest, which has 0 attack and 14 defense, so a little bit more defense in there. Same build cost, 1 chicken and wood. By the end of your turn, retrieve 1 chicken, and then we have 3 copies of the Control Nest, which costs an extra wood, but has 15 defense. Adjacent units you control get 3 strength. So it's kind of neat. Be able to build more machines that just sit around and kind of boost up your stuff. Alright, up next we have our Draco Studios. We have Quetzalcoatl again. 2 movement, 10 attack, and 14 defense. Treat your chicken tokens as resources on your banner. Pay 1. At the end of your turn, you may discard 4 resources. If you do, take 1 random scroll from each other player's hand. Ooh, that's nasty. And then we have Arius Fulgen. 2 movement, 10 attack, 14 health. Treat your chickens as tokens on your banner. At the end of your turn, you may discard 6 resources. If you do, exchange your hand with another player's choice. So it's kind of neat. They're very similar, but they have their own little differences. Alright, so for Dodos Riding Dinosaurs, we have 1 leader, which is the JJs. This is kind of interesting because, usually we have, like we saw in the last one, we have Ofendorfer, who's the dodo. So here now we actually have the little dinosaurs, they take control in the War for Chicken Island game. So these guys are the 3 JJs. 1 movement, 6 attack, 12 defense. Pay 1. Take 1 of your spent dice and place it on any unit you control as a +1. Neat. So you gotta use some of your extra dice. Then, now the rest of the dinosaurs actually become machines. So we're gonna start looking at them. So we have the Spinosaur. I'm not gonna read all the costs. You can definitely see them over there. But 1 movement, 9 attack, 10 defense. This unit has 1 strength for each +1 sword on it. Nice. The Velociraptor. 1 movement, 8 attack, 12 armor. This unit has +2 speed if it has at least 1 sword counter on it. The Brontosaurus. 1 move, 8 attack, 14 defense. This unit has +2 armor if it has at least one sword. Since these guys are gaining bonuses by getting extra armor on them, or attack powers. Triceratops, 1 movement, 7 attack, 13 armor. At the end of your turn, draw 1 additional scroll if it has at least one sword on it. The Leopterodon has 2 movement, because he has wheels. 7 attack, 12 armor. This unit has free move action if it has at least one sword on it. The Ankylosaurus has 1 move, 8 attack, and 12 armor. During combat, if this unit has at least one sword on it, you may choose a magic card you played and duplicate its effect. The Pachycephalosaurus, 1 move, 9 attack, 11 armor. After this unit moves, you may take a free attack action if it has at least one move on it, or one sword on it. The Parasaurolophus, 1 movement, 8 attack, 13 armor. Whenever this unit is attacked, draw 1 scroll if it has at least one sword on it. The Stegosaurus, 1 movement, 8 attack, 13 armor. After this unit attacks, you may make a free move action if it has at least one sword on it. The Pterodactyl has 2 movement, 7 attack, 11 armor. This unit can skip hexes with other enemy units if it has at least one sword on it. And the last one is we have the Mighty T-Rex. 1 attack, 1 movement, 9 attack, 12 armor. Just +2 strength that has at least one sword on it. So it's a fun thing because you can add all these guys in here, but to add extra machines. So instead of just giving us like, oh, here's 40 more leaders for this War for Chicken Island, there's more machines, which I think actually makes the game really cool because you throw them all in there, you have a bunch of different stuff. I also wonder though, if I play this, if I would have my machine piles maybe separating into 2 things, is maybe do one that was the base game stuff, and then maybe one that was the dinosaurs. Just because I give people an option to get dinosaurs without limiting all the rest of the soldiers and stuff, because these guys cost so much. If they're the only ones on the board, it might be too expensive to get all of these out, because you're not getting your cheaper stuff. Even like with the control nest, right? You can probably just mix them into the rest of them. But then you might also have to worry about getting too many tower things and not having movement. But that's just my opinion on maybe how you want to do it. Yes, it's definitely cool. Alright, for dinos, Dodos Riding Dinos, Double Dash Rib, Draco Rex, 1 movement, 9 attack, and 11 armor. Whenever this unit attacks, you may remove a sword counter on it. If you do, players of your choice discard 2 scrolls from their hand. So this is kind of neat. So the first ones that'll gain bonuses for having them. And these guys are going to gain bonuses for removing them. Dinosaur Egg. 1 movement, 6 attack, 15 armor. Whenever this unit is attacked, you may remove a sword from it. If you do, retrieve 2 resources, and the attacker draws 1 scroll. The Diceodon, 1 movement, 8 attack, and 12 armor. Whenever this unit attacks, you may remove a sword on it. If you do, retrieve 3 resources or chicken tokens. Long Squamous, 1 movement, 6 attack, and 14 armor. At the end of your turn, you may remove a sword from this unit. If you do, take 1 random scroll from another player's hand. Protoceratops, movement. 1, attack is 7, and armor is 13. Before taking any actions, you may remove a sword from this unit. If you do, you may re-roll all your dice. The Archaeopteryx has 2 movement, 6 attack, and 11 armor. Whenever you move this unit, you may remove a sword. If you do, place it on any empty hex. The Plesiosaurus has 1 movement, 8 attack, and 10 armor. All swords on this unit count as shields. Whenever you place a shield on this unit, you must discard a scroll from your hand. Dilophosaurus has 2 movements, 7 attack, and 11 armor. Before resolving a catastrophe, you may remove a sword from this unit. If you do, This movement takes a free move action. And the last one we have there is the Strigosaurus. Has 1 movement, 8 attack, 13 armor. Pay a star if you remove a sword from this unit. If you do, take a free movement action with an adjacent unit from any player. Ooh, nice. You force other people to move. So that's a really neat idea. Cool, because it's like, they didn't bring the tokens in from this game or the meeples like they do with Kiwi Chow Down. But the fact is, all these different machines add some stuff. But some game bonuses from having them, some game bonuses from removing them. That's cool. And then the last one we have is from the new unnamed game is the Carnotaurus. The Carnotaurus, 1 movement, 9 attack, and 13 armor. This unit may attack 2 units at once if it has at least 1 sword on it. Yeah, so that's actually pretty cool as well, right? That we get some neat stuff there. Alright, up last is, not last, but the last set of the games is we have the Dodos Riding Dinos. So now on the back, they just have the full artwork like they would on the rest of them, so I don't have like the logo for them. But we're going to start for the War for Chicken Island crossover stuff. Is we have Krakatoa and his blast cannons. So at the end of your turn, build 1 cannon. At the end of each round, blast cannons. Build, place 1 cannon adjacent to your hex outside of the track. If 5 of them are already in place, move 1 instead. Cannons hit by projectiles are destroyed. Blast cannons. Each cannon deals 1 damage to all of the racers in hexes adjacent to them. This is a really neat idea where you're bringing the other units from the game into this one. I'm going to drop him down for a sec. So the other one we have is Plucky and battle cards. At the end of your turn, build 1 battle card. At the start of your turn, sprint if battle cards is adjacent to you. So build, place 1 battle card adjacent to your hex outside of the track. These are neat because they go outside of the track, so they're not actually getting in your way like of the race. There's 6 of them already placed. Move 1 instead. Battle cards hit by projectiles are destroyed. Sprint. Advance 2 hexes and deal 1 damage to any racer you pass. So basically drop these up and they give you little boosts. We have Zen Psych and Towers. At the end of your turn, build 1 tower. Then at the end of each round, meditate. Build, place 1 tower in a hex adjacent outside the track. If 6 are already in place, move 1. Towers hit by projectiles are destroyed. Meditate. With the top X card from the deck, X is equal to the number of towers in play. Take 1 and discard the rest. Overkill and Soldiers. Build 1 soldier. At the end of your turn, build 1 soldier. The next hit with a projectile you launch, replicate. Build 1 soldier. Place 1 soldier adjacent to your hex outside the track. If 9 are already in place, move 1 instead. Soldiers are hit by projectiles, are destroyed or replicate. Deal 1 additional damage for each soldier on the board, then remove half of them. Interesting. Then we have Kick Me and the Golems. At the end of your turn, build 1 golem. Draw 3 cards whenever a golem is destroyed. Build, place 1 golem on the adjacent hex adjacent to the track. If 6 are already there, move 1 instead. Golems hit by projectiles are destroyed. So I think part of the thing here, though, is because they're a lot bigger, they're going to get hit more often. They kind of just basically be used as, like, blockers. We'll let you get some extra cards in there, because it works well at Kick Me, supposed to be the target. We have Abigail. If you are enraged, you take 3 damage less whenever you take damage. And advance twice your speed during your turn. Nice. So if we get enraged, we get some extra bonuses for doing that. Amora Momoa. If you are enraged after you advance, put 1 egg and of 2 damage on a hit, draw a card. Polilazzo. If you are enraged, after you advance, you may discard 1 normal card from your hand and resolve its effect. And then the last main one is Megadeth. If you are enraged after you advance, you may take 3 damage to You may take 3 damage to ignore if you are enraged. Oh, okay, to ignore that you are enraged. Gotcha. So as a reminder for these last few cards, so enraged, it says if you're enraged, that is when you play your aggressive cards and you reach the limit. So most games it's once you have two players both. Anything over 2 players also plays a aggressive card. Movement card, then everyone becomes enraged. You still get your movement, but you cancel your abilities. Yeah, so that just kind of makes some of these very much interesting. So you can take, basically play more aggressive cards, but you can like get extra speed, or you get a flicking egg, or you get you gain like it negates your disadvantage of playing the aggressive cards. Alright, let's head into the promo characters. We have Mecha Chicken Dragon. During your steaming phase, you may burn. Next time you hit with a projectile, you may activate critical. So burn, set aside 1 card from your hand. Critical, discard all burnt cards and advance 2 hexes per discarded card. If you discard at least 3 cards, cancel the movement effect from all racers hit who haven't taken a turn this round. Just kind of like a risk-reward thing. It's basically you have to limit your cards in your hand for the chance that eventually you do get hurt or you get hit with a projectile, then you can definitely gain some extra movement. Yeah. But until you get hit, then you're kind of wasted cards. Other than that, we have Helena. After you are enraged, if you are enraged, after you advance, deal 2 damage to all racers ahead of you. Ooh, nice. Krestos, if you are enraged, at the end of your turn, advance 2 hexes and deal 1 damage to all racers, 1 hex ahead of you. Caldor, if you are enraged after you advance, you may choose any aggressive card in the discard pile and resolve its effect. Discard your hand afterwards. The Roastinator C900, if you are enraged, after you advance, throw 1 banana, 2 damage. All hit racers must go back 2 hexes. Dragon Mama and Hatchlings. At the end of your turn, Dragon Hatchling. Whenever racers pass the Dragon Hatchling, they take 1 damage for each one they pass. Hatch puts 1 Dragon Hatchling on your hex. If 2 of them are already placed, move 1 of them instead to any hex on the board. Dragon Hatchlings hit by projectiles are destroyed. So yeah, the first 2 you place are only going to be very useful if you're ahead. But then after that, once you start placing them, you kind of like throw them anywhere on the board in front of other people. But I mean, again, at the end of your turn, so by turn 3, you're going to start being able to place them ahead of time. Cool. We have Cluck Thulu. You cannot start the race or finish your movement in the same hex as other racers. Not start a race or finish your movement as the same hex as other racers. Move back to the closest empty hex. I'm guessing size, probably because he's big. During steaming phase, you may move back 2 hexes to activate Magnus. All other players discard the reaction cards from their hand. This round, they must play a random card face down from their hand instead of choosing. Oh, that's nasty and that's fun. And our last one is Yak Sloth. Again, you gotta finish your race the same hex as other races. During steaming, you may move back 2 hexes to activate Omniscience. Omniscience is all face down cards. You may discard up to 2 of them and replace them with other normal aggressive cards from your hand face down. Interesting. So you kind of mess with everyone else's stuff. That's fun. Alright, our Kiwi Chow Downs. We're going to start with Ugh. Whenever you recover and draw a new hand of cards, your lead racer moves back 3 hexes. Interesting. We're going to set him off to the side because we have a different one for him. Chopang. Whenever you or the lead racer are hit with a projectile, advance 3 hexes. Burbus. Whenever you're hit with a projectile, advance hexes equal to the number of races. All other racers advance 1 hex. Scully. Whenever you're hit with a projectile, Damage is dealt to the lead racer. Other effects still apply to you. These guys have a lot of stuff with being hit, right? Yeah. So that's a neat game mechanic too. So the one guys play around with enraged. These guys are playing around with being hit with projectiles. It's kind of just a neat mechanics to the game. Musco, after taking damage, when you're hit with a projectile, take one card from the lead racer's hand. Zeng. Whenever a lead racer is hit with a projectile, take any reaction from the discard pile. Gooey. At the end of each round, roll one die. If the result is 5 or 6, advance 1 hex. Otherwise, lead racer moves back 1 hex unless you're the lead racer. Then the last one we have is Mecha Chicken Kiwi. Says during the steamy phase, you may burn. The next hit with a projectile you launch boosts your active. Next time you hit a projectile, activate your boost. Burn. Set aside 1 card from your hand to boost. Discard all burnt cards and advance 2 hexes per discarded card. All racers you pass move back 1 hex. Was that not the same as our Mecha Chicken Dragon? Oh no, so his was a little bit different. His was, yeah, discard per 2 cards, but then he also had, his extra was then you can cancel the movement effects of all racers who haven't taken a round. Instead, here it just moves everyone back 1. I thought we had a promo for this guy, but I might be wrong. Alright, so that is what we have for all of the cards that came with the set. So that was our Avian Trilogy Crossovers. Yeah, so definitely cool. Again, you don't necessarily have to have all the different sets, but they're going to be neat. I like that they do make use of some of the other mechanics, other miniatures in the games to do stuff. The projectiles, the dice from Dodo. So yeah, the only thing is there's a couple of promo characters that are also out that came out in the last campaign. And they have a few new characters that don't have versions. I think most of them came with cards for 2 of the different sets, but not all 3 of them. So hopefully they'll have some of those extra ones available as other promos or something later on. Plus, then we also have 2 extra. As of this video, there are 2 other games already announced. There's Dodos Riding Dinos first race, which has more chibi characters. It's meant to be a simplified, easier game of the Dodos Riding Dinosaur game. So I don't know if any of them will cross over, because I think it's just chibi-ish versions of some of the guys from the first game. So I don't know if there's any new characters. So I don't know if they'll have crossover that way or not. But I think they do have a new projectile in there, the Star. So we'll see again. Maybe they'll have a crossover that way too. And then the other one is Panda Party Pirates, which we already had 1 crossover with that, with this other little box of Rumlow. So yeah, we'll have to see if any of those miniatures also get like crossovers to some of these different stuff in the sets as well. So the last thing I wanted to look at in this video was we do have some cards that came in this set that already had cards that came out. So this is Krakatoa, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see these. This is Krakatoa and the Cannons from this promo box set. But then we got another version that came in a promo from either a different pack or was in one of the boxes. So they're a little bit different, which I find is kind of interesting. So the one that's not in this set says move Krakatoa up to 2 hexes and push up to 4 Kiwi from the hex you enter. Choose 1 Kiwi you push and remove it from the board. So this is one that didn't utilize having to have the cannons on there. Then the other one we have in here is we had the original Oberndorfer, and then we had the one from this box set. So the other one says, move Oberndorfer up to 2 hexes and push every Kiwi from the hex you landed on. Choose up to 2 Kiwi that you pushed, increase each Kiwi by 1 size. So it's kind of neat, is we got some different promos that work differently. For Kiwi Chow Down, we did have the JJs, but then we also had one that was just Oberndorfer. They must have really liked this character because they kept printing them. So his is 1 movement, 6 attack, 12 armor, so the same as the other guy. But his pay 1 star, discard 1 scroll from your hand. If you do any use of banding with Oberndorfer, take 1 free movement action and 1 free fight action afterwards. So basically you can split his banding up. So it's kind of a neat mechanic for him. I'm going to drop these guys back down, spread these out a little bit so we have sideways cards. We also had 2 different Krakatoas for Dodos Riding Dinosaurs. We had one with the blast cannons, which again is from this box. Then the other one was just with cannons. It says at the end of your turn, build 1 cannon. At the end of each round, fire cannons. So it says build, place or relocate 1 cannon on any hex adjacent to the track facing a single side. Cannons hit by projectiles are destroyed. Fire cannons. Each cannon fires does 1 damage to races within 2 hexes of the cannon is facing. Yeah, so very interesting changes on this because the fire cannons versus blast cannons are, the fire cannons is actually better. They both deal 1 damage, 1 damage, but the fire cannons do 2 hexes, to whatever cannons they are facing, but they can hurt you as well, versus the blast cannons, only do adjacent hexes next to them, so they could actually hit in more directions, but then they don't hurt you. So it's kind of a little bit interesting. And then the other thing is, with the first one here, you have to wait until you have 5 places to be able to move them. Then they changed it to make it so you can build or relocate any cannon. So very interesting is that you can they change it up just slightly. Then the last 2 ones we have to show are Ugg and then the Ugg and Yuka, which is the Kiwi's name. Because at the end of your turn, you may activate Ice Storm. Ice Storm, discard random card from your hand. If it is an aggressive card, advance 3 hexes. If it is a reaction card, nothing happens. If it is a normal card, each opponent goes back 1 hex. So that's a very interesting thing as well. It's just an interesting mechanic. We also see how it's very different. Whenever you cover and draw cards, it has nothing to do with the same idea. The other thing you're also going to notice on both of these is they have a difficulty level that is for solo play. These guys do not have that listed on there anywhere. The thing is, though, if anyone that's, whatever the rarity of is it, legendary, hard, normal, easy, they're the same for all different levels. So they get kind of nice when they sort of quote unquote updated them, because these came with some of the games. And they did add that solo mode on there, but they didn't add solo mode for any of the other characters in there. So basically, it's almost like saying that the crossover characters aren't available for solo mode for Dodos Riding Dinosaurs. Granted, you could definitely use them. I'd just say pick either legendary or hard for each one, and it's going to show what their different stats are for them. So basically, it's just whatever card they draw is what they did do is they get plus to those different things or times or whatever. Cool. So that was the last thing we had. We just want to show off. They did have a couple different. I did not show off all the other separate promos. As I've done those in other videos. I've showed those other cards off too. I just want to show the differences between the abilities from reprinted characters. So that's what we got. If you guys haven't for some reason checked out the other 4 games listed so far, check them out, and I will definitely keep buying more of these and showing off more expansions and When I get the Kickstarter stuff, I'll show off that as well. See you guys later. Hit me up in the comments. Bye.